This is KCR, the sound of state.
And we are on. Hey, everybody, this is KCR College Radio. You're listening to the award-winning Sound of State here at San Diego State University. For those of you tuning in for the very first time, you can find us at kcrlive.com, where we stream worldwide 24/7. And if you guys have the TuneIn app on your iOS or Android devices, just go to your app store, look for that, download it, and look up KCR College Radio. And you can also follow us at KCR College Radio on the social medias as well. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat. If you want to follow us on there, see all the amazing fun stuff that we're doing here at SDSU. And with all of that in mind, my name is Tisha Mora, and I'm your host for this evening for my entertainment talk show, Tishtalk, where each week I choose a topic in entertainment, grab some of my friends, we talk about it for the hour, and have a lot of fun. So if you guys want to send me any questions, topics, concerns, all that good stuff, the best way for you to do it during the show is at my Twitter. If you follow me at KCR Tishtalk, that's KCR-TISH Talk. I have a Twitter, I have a Facebook, Instagram, and a YouTube where I store all of my previous shows on there, with the exception of last week. I will put last week's up hopefully soon. For those of you who are longtime listeners, Brett from Brett and Mackie in the Morning, whose shows are typically from Mondays at 10 to 12, has something a little cooked up since he was on there last time, so it should be good. But if you are unaware of the soundtrack that's playing in the background right now, tonight's topic is going to be a little different. It's murder mysteries. And so I kind of wanted to kick it off with a little bit of Sherlock talk. Ironically, I've actually been on a Sherlock binge, so it's been kind of fun. But for tonight, my guest for this evening, you've heard him here before, if you guys have listened before, is my old friend Cameron Laufer. Say hi, Cam.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello. So welcome back to KCR. You haven't been on since, was that when Paolo was here?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah? We didn't do anything over the... Oh, we didn't do anything over the break. That's right.
I'm trying to think, yeah.
That might have been, I think, our movie and book episode. So for those of you tuning in for the very first time, can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Cameron Laufer. I've been a longtime friend of Tisha, longtime listener, and frequent guest, I guess, on Tishtalk.
And creator of my logo.
Oh, yes.
My graphics
I did.
designer.
I'm your graphics designer.
I want to say Andrew knew me. I've known Andrew for 13 years, which means I've known you for 15.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Is it 15? Yeah. Because what? It's a third grade, right?
Yeah, third or fourth grade. Fourth grade?
I thought it was third.
Oh, my God.
I think
That's
it was
what
third.
happens when you get old.
Yeah, so I've known you for 15 years. So I wish you were here last week because we were talking about Star Wars.
I know.
And it was a whole lot of fun. I think you would have really liked it. But the way, before we get into the topic, I just need to comment on this because I cannot get over how he introduced himself on the show. So I had a full house last week. It was most of it was KCR folks. We had AJ Ricafrente, who is actually the show after me, if you guys want to listen to that. We had Joshua Giberson, who is, of course, general manager. We had Brett Mitchell. Our video director, and one of our other radio hosts, Ahmad Dixon, who is on Diners Always Open, which I think is Wednesdays from 12 to 1. Wow, I know his showtime better than he does. But Andrew was on, and the way that Andrew introduces himself goes, my name is Andrew Edquid, I am RA, whatever. And then he goes, and I've known Tisha for about 13 years, and I know her because she was my first girlfriend. Wow. That's how he introduced himself on air, and it derailed everyone's attention to, what do you mean? I was like, oh my God, now I have to explain. And then he tried to play it off like I broke his heart. So that's wrong.
Yeah, we can set the record straight. That is not true. But, we tell ourselves what we want to believe.
And what Andrew believes is wrong. So
yeah.
I just want that for everybody in the world to hear and understand that he's wrong. Oh, my good old. Also, really quick, I've been giving everybody plugs, and it's only been like 6 minutes. You're all welcome. Psych, just kidding. on Mondays, I am also on another show, on Josh's show, called The Groove. It's from 5 to 6, and one of our co-hosts, Ryan, is tuning in. Hi, Ryan. He's tuning in, so I'm
Woohoo.
surprised. I never... Well, we'll see. I don't know. Supposedly, we may have a special guest later. I don't know. If he feels like coming in, I guess. But it's just fair because it's like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, Ryan, I'll address your comments later. But anyways, yeah, let's get down to business. We have some questions from the Slack, who as always have been longtime listeners from my show and loyal listeners of my show, I guess, and also listeners from the We Stay Late podcast. Shout out to them and shout out to the Slack as always. So where do we want to start? Do we want to start Sherlock talk first, or do we actually? I think the most recent one was really Murder on the Orient Express.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you guys have not watched, obviously there's always going to be spoilers in my show, but Murder on the Orient Express started off as a mystery series. Or well, it's a part of a mystery series written by Agatha Christie, which is from like way back when.
It's old. It's really old.
It's really old. And you can kind of tell in the writing.
You can, and
like even because I watched it first, and I was curious enough to see how different it was from the book. So I got the book, and it took me aside from being busy, it took me like the month to finish it.
Oh my God.
It's a small book, but the thing, and this is why I keep telling you that you need to borrow it from me, Cam, and you'll like it more than me. Because
what are you implying?
Because
if it's old,
no, because
how long have you known me, Cameron? 15 years. I'm getting an old theme here.
Well,
but
you know
anyways.
what? We are getting old, but that's not my point. My point is that you understand French. You're half French.
Yes.
In her book, our main character...
Because she has a character's talk in French.
Yeah, and there's no translation in the book. I had to use context clues from... I mean, I could easily just Googled it, but, I didn't want to do that and interrupt my reading, so I had to use context clues from what I knew from the movie to kind of understand what's happening in the series. So it's like, oh my gosh.
I don't even know, though, why they wouldn't even provide a translation. You would think...
I mean, it's old, so I would assume maybe,
know, more people knew French back then, or who knows?
I guess so, but also what I thought was really interesting was that, I don't know, there are very drastic differences from the movie to the book, and I think a lot of the differences were good differences because obviously there's a lot of diversity in that cast, and I think it was a really, really good decision to do it. If you look at it, it's a beautiful cast. It
was, and I mean, so okay, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask several questions.
Okay.
Who am I kidding, right? But
that's what the show's about.
So there's a line in this movie where we're already covering spoilers, so who cares?
No, yeah.
But there's a character played by Josh Gad, and he says something about Poirot, who is played by the main character is Hercule Poirot, and he's Belgian, a Belgian detective, Hercule Poirot.
There you go.
And the whole joke throughout the movie is everyone's like, "Oh, Hercules Poirot," and he's like, "It's Hercule Poirot." But anyways, so Josh Gad has this whole scene where he's interviewed. He plays I guess you could say assistant, the butler, the servant of...
no, he was his accountant.
Accountant, that's what it was.
The victim who was... Well, I mean, spoilers, obviously. But,
yeah,
who was played by Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm. Samuel Ratchet. And so Hector McQueen is the name of Josh Gad's character. And he has this whole scene with Hercule Poirot where he says something... They're interviewing him or interrogating him because they suspect because he was the accountant and it turned out that he was kind of stealing money through Johnny Depp's character who's deceased, that what were your motivations? And he said something about how he wouldn't pin it on other passengers on the train who, as you mentioned earlier, are all super diverse. And one of them is a doctor who is black.
Oh, I forgot. He's played by...
Oh
man, can you pull up the cast?
Yeah, I have it with me right now. It's such a long cast. It's hard.
It is a very long cast. But he's famous. He was in Hamilton. He played
Leslie
Aaron Burr.
Odom Jr.
There you go.
Who played
Aaron Burr, sir. There you go.
Yes. So, he says something about, I would never judge a character, or not a character, another person by race. But then it's mentioned later on that he suspects...
He implies it because...
It's Marquez. He implies who's another passenger on the train. And it's crazy because Poirot says something that's you said that you would not judge someone on the basis of race. And he says, well, to certain races, which is this character sucks, is what I thought when I read that. But
I thought it was really... But again, they changed it from the book because in the book they're all pretty much
White.
think they're all white. But they all come from like various like one I think what is he? He's Belgian, right?
Yeah.
Belgian. There's a bunch of British folk. There's a bunch of like obviously they're all like in Europe.
And
But
Penelope Cruz, she's like Swedish in the main version,
yeah,
right?
that's what it
That's
is.
crazy. Like they just changed.
But all of it like I think tied in really really well when you find out what their actual like identities are and how it plays in with the overall like mystery, so to speak, of like, aspect of that. I thought it's kind of nice that they allow themselves those little like subtext and stuff because it kind of creates more to the story.
Right.
Where it's like in the book, obviously, like you can only do so much. Like you can't suddenly, oh, well, suddenly this dude's racist or suddenly that person's sexist. Like they don't really have that much to work with in the book because it's like, you know, there's only so much to work with.
Yeah.
But overall, did you like it?
I thought it was enjoyable. I did like it. I'd like to see this character in other movies or other storylines because I did like Kenneth Branagh as Poirot.
And we were talking about it before we got in here, and I think we talked about it last time too. That Kenneth Branagh, Kenneth what?
Branagh.
He played Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and also Hamlet, which was great. I was going to say Hamilton.
He also directed the movie, I think, too, right?
Did he really?
I think
it was
so.
very beautiful. We watched that in Hazel's class, didn't we?
Yeah, he directed him. I mean, he's directed so many movies, like Thor. He directed the very first Thor movie.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I still haven't seen Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, you should.
I know.
It's the best.
It looks
yeah.
good. I heard it's good.
No offense, Kenneth.
I know. But anyways, what I was gonna get to is that he was interested enough to be Hercule
Poirot. In future installments.
Future installments, like a series, which I think would be very interesting. I think for me, watching it first time around, as somebody who is in like a writing major and like appreciates works of art and stuff like that, I think writing wise, I was kind of like, oh, like I was let down.
Right.
I mean, everything tied in beautifully. I was like, okay, I can appreciate that.
So can I like just make a point on that real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're
so
good.
I was reading before here, not to get real nerdy or anything, but apparently there's different types of detectives. You have a classic detective who is essentially perfect. And then there's this new trope, which is called a hard-boiled detective. So it's like within the actual crime mystery.
Egg?
I know it sounds like a hard-boiled egg, but it's something about like there's like the difference between a detective who is, you know, seemingly perfect, which Poirot kind of is that person. Like
He was very
gets
like,
everything
meticulous.
right.
Yeah.
And then there's also someone who is like a flawed anti-hero, which could be Sherlock. You know, Sherlock is
Good tie-in.
addicted
Thank
to
you.
drugs and like he's not perfect by any means. He will exploit victims or clues to kind of get off on the case, really, like, for lack of a better word. And so I thought it was really interesting that we're picking these two characters as well that are such foils of each other because, I mean, Poirot is like such a long-running character. Agatha Christie wrote so many books about him, but he is seemingly perfect. So I get what you mean, where it's like kind of the letdown where everything was so neatly tied up.
Maybe when you mentioned that, maybe that's kind of why I was let down because I am a big fan of Sherlock and kind of putting the two and two. Like Sherlock has a little bit more, like I can't expect it. I mean, obviously now I've watched everything, but like watching it first time around, I didn't know what to expect from the series. Like for example, in Hounds of Baskerville, which I thought was really funny that you guessed that I was watching.
It was a gigantic hound.
Like, I didn't expect that to kind of be the case.
Yeah.
It made sense in the end, obviously, because like mysteries always do. They kind of like show everything. Like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense kind of thing. And, as did Murder on the Orient Express in the ending. But I wasn't really satisfied with it. I don't know why. Like, everything else was beautiful. You know, it's cheesy, it's corny because it is supposed to be like a murder. Yeah, it's older and it's a murder mystery. But like, for whatever reason, I just was not satisfied entirely. Like Kevin and John, who I went to go watch it with, they liked it.
Really?
Yeah, but they were like, yeah, it was really good. But I sat there, I was like, yeah. I was like, but
see, I'm with you there because I think that what I expect out of a whodunit. I think I'm too influenced by modern or contemporary
maybe like
murder
a bigger
mystery.
payoff.
Yeah, or some major twist. You know, I was kind of expecting there to be some, and there is a sort of twist ending, but not really.
I think it's just like I said, it wrapped up way too well.
Right.
Like all of a sudden,
it was quick too.
Yeah. I want to say like if they maybe run the movie a little bit longer.
Yeah.
like, and then kind of let things kind of drag out would have been interesting, because in the books there are differences, and obviously they're more in detail. Like, you see him actually interview actual like employees on the train and
See,
everything,
I feel
or
like
like
that
just
would
the
have
coach.
been so much better because I wonder if, like, for a movie, whoever the producers were like, oh, we need to streamline this and we'll only show the characters on
Hmm.
the train. But like my issue with it was in the very like end of the movie. There's this whole scene where he's interrogating all of them. Um, I mean, should I like say the
Go
ending?
for it. Yeah, that's fine.
So spoiler, spoiler, spoiler.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we can say it.
Right.
Also, if you
So
listen to my show, you understand.
it's revealed that all of these characters who all the suspects, I guess I should use the correct
All the
terminology, the
passengers in that
passengers,
coach.
are basically co-conspirators
Hmm.
in terms of the murder of Johnny Depp's character
Yeah.
because they were all former employers or somehow tied to the death of
Yeah, they were all employers or acquaintances of this overall murder, of like this very young, like I think it was like a kid,
little
right?
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little girl, like from like a very like pure household, so to speak. Like there's nothing like dirty, like no
Mhm.
dirty money or anything.
See, and that was why I felt such like a weird connection about it. Was okay, all of these people are totally tied together,
Hmm.
and there's this kind of they help plot this murder as a sense of revenge, and they get that revenge.
Yeah.
And yet, the way that it wraps up is all of them get away with what they've done.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I'm thinking like they straight up murdered someone.
I
Like you
know.
don't get to get
Well,
away with that. But
what's it called? What I thought was interesting, the ending in the book is a bit different. It's not as dragged out.
oh,
Like,
okay.
he goes straight to, you're all like, once he figures it out, he's like, you're all innocent, it's fine, and he kind of
Hmm.
goes with the fake story, kind of like what he does in the movie. So they kind of like drag out his I guess his conflict with like being correct and being just, like the justice and everything, or letting these grieving people let have their peace, so to speak. Just
See, and I feel like another issue I took with it is I don't know if in the book they explain the Armstrong family
yeah, they did.
more. Okay, because I have no empathy for them, and I
It
know that
was
sounds
just like this
horrible, but like
whole like
it's this whole family, and all you hear from this other family is how good these people were
Mhm.
and how wrong it was that they were, how their lives were torn apart by this one man, and so that's why he deserved to die. And I'm not saying that like this dude who kidnapped someone and then killed like a little girl like doesn't
Mhm.
deserve to die. Like yeah, that's a horrific crime, but it's just hard to like empathize and understand what all of these other characters' motivation when everything you're getting is based on
just this one.
context. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it did go into it more in the book, but even the book, like I said, it was kind of dry. Like, sometimes I would just be reading it just to read it, not so much enjoy it. But, it is what it is. But, overall thoughts,
I liked
you
it.
liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
yeah. It was definitely entertaining. It is produced very, very beautifully. And the cast is all amazing, too. So it's like, if you guys end
Absolutely.
up watching it, I think you'd enjoy it. If you end up reading it, bring a French dictionary with you. It's...
Get a la ruse. That's the
Seriously.
French dictionary.
Yeah, man, it was rough, but I mean, we'll kind of talk. We don't have to talk about Sherlock the entire time, but like,
Okay.
did you? Well, we obviously watched it right from the get. I think
Yeah,
you watched it before me.
absolutely.
I watched it later. I
Yeah.
want to say I watched it. I think the year before third season came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we were in high school.
I
Right?
just remember, yes, and I remember watching because it was weird because I remember I started it on Netflix and I assumed like a regular show that each episode would maybe be like a max of an hour long.
It was like an hour plus.
It was like 2 hours for each episode.
Yeah, it was like an
and there
hour
are only
40.
3 you get. So by the time I finished the third one, I was thinking like, there's nothing else. Like I
Mhm.
have to wait for a new
Yeah,
installment.
you know what? I do want to say I think I finished it the year before the third one came out because I went
Mhm.
to the first two.
Okay.
What was your? Well, I guess because the seasons are obviously three
Right,
three
right.
episodes long. What has been like your favorite Sherlock episode?
See,
Do we have a question like that?
I'm gonna
Never mind.
get in trouble because people don't like this one, but I really liked the episode. It's the second one of the entire series, which is there's the woman who has the brother. She's like the museum curator.
Oh, that one.
I know, and it's so different, and people
What's
like
it
say that
called?
it's one of like the worst ones, but I thought it was just very captivating.
That was
because
the Was it the teacup?
exactly. I need to
With,
figure out
like,
the name of it.
Yeah, look it up. Like, it was like the gang and everything,
Yeah,
right?
and the only
my God,
reason
that's
why
right, I
I
forgot
thought it
about
was
that.
interesting was that I mean obviously like the one when Moriarty was first introduced, that is excellent, but
Mhm.
I thought what was nice was it ended with such like a sad kind of ending. The Blind Banker, that was it.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
And I thought that that was kind of a cool thing because, everything up until that point was only one episode, but it was resolved in a pretty good way. And that one just was kind of dark. But
I want to say for me, my favorite one had to be. I want to say mine was still Scandal in Belgravia.
oh, that's still really good.
That one's
Yeah.
definitely my favorite. Love the woman. Love like you see more of like I think
How
what that was
naughty.
How
Yeah.
naughty. Yes, Miss Adler. No,
I mean,
you see more of Sherlock and John's like relationship kind of played out more.
wait, you know what? I think I want to change my answer. I really liked The Abominable Bride, which was like a special.
That one
but
was
it's
a good, that was
because
the one
you
I
take,
watched recently.
yeah, you take all of like the things from the show that
You?
you love. You.
You are me. It's good. It was a really good. The only thing that irritated me was that they were hyping up that season 4 is coming, season
For
4,
sure.
and then season 4 didn't come out for like another year, and they gave us a Christmas special,
No,
which
that was frustrating.
amazing, but also like ugh. But I was going back and I was watching the Abominable Bride. I had to say that slower.
Abominable Bride.
Abo-
Abominable Bride.
There you go.
It's a
That
tongue twister.
that one. I like the aspect of it being set way back when.
Exactly.
And still kind of utilize like you see more of like the you know how they do like flashbacks and stuff and he's like what is it like the flashbacks and they're playing out the scenarios and he's like giving his like or he's retelling the stories and stuff like that.
Well,
You
and
don't
like
see that
halfway
much in,
through,
like,
he
later.
gets so he loses his high, and he wakes up and he realizes it's like an airplane. And
I
he's
know,
like I need to
so
like get a hit
good.
again, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, oh, you're addicted, like you're the worst. And, but like he has to do it, so it was such a weird like mind trip
It
in
was
this whole
it
thing.
was really good. But that one's your favorite. That one would be
I
your
like that
answer?
one a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I still want to say Scandal in Belgravia is really nice. If you guys haven't seen it, one, I'm sorry for the spoilers.
Look
But
at those
it is
cheekbones.
it is
Could hurt myself.
I know.
Right.
you could just cut
myself.
Yeah, you cut
She was,
something
like,
with those
so
cheekbones.
cool.
She's so great. I think it's enjoyable. I think that you do have to dedicate time to it. You know, obviously it's like it's a lot. I want to say the 4th season was really dark, and I think it just like we were talking about it earlier. It moves way too fast. You clearly see a lot more, darker plot lines in that storyline, and I think it was a bit too much.
I agree.
And it's sad because I don't think that we're gonna get a season 5 anytime soon. Because like look at Benedict Cumberbatch and look at can remember the characters he plays, but I can't remember his name. Like John Watson, Bilbo Baggins. That's not
Oh my god, I should know this too. Because
Martin Freeman.
Yes,
Sorry, there you go.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch. They're both involved in the Marvel series now. So it's like, when are they gonna have time to set aside to be on Sherlock again?
Well, and then they're also doing other projects. Like Benedict Cumberbatch is doing a television show for Showtime. So I'm
He is?
thinking, when do you have time? Yeah, it's I don't know what kind of show. I saw a trailer for it and then I forgot about it. Which, no offense, Benedict, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Let's jump into some questions because we're talking about Sherlock. From
Sure.
Banks Pinoy from the Slack, he asks, "Do you find yourself to be more of a Sherlock or a Moriarty?"
Ooh, interesting.
That's really hard. I feel like I would be more of a Moriarty.
Okay, that's an interesting answer.
I think it's because like, he's like constantly like it's a game, and he plays to win, so to speak. I mean, so does Sherlock, but he plays it in a way where it's like, if I don't know that I just feel like the energy, the amount of
Right.
energy he has in order to kind of like succeed and to do that stuff. I feel like I can relate to that more than like I can Sherlock's cynical side.
Yeah, I would want to be Moriarty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like literally, for being who I think my personality is most similar to, it's probably John Watson, honestly. But maybe Sherlock, because I get the mood swings and everything like crazy. I'm not as clever.
No, I wouldn't say that, but I think I can see more of a Sherlock. Well, I mean, like, so you would say, cast yourself. What character would you
I would
relate
probably
to?
be
You would say Watson.
yeah, John. Well, maybe no. I'm gonna change it. Yeah, I will be Sherlock. I'm going to settle with that one.
Okay.
Cool. I
I
can
don't
rock
know.
a purple shirt like Benedict Cumberbatch can.
Flip the color up.
Flip the collar up.
I don't know who I would be. Mary?
She's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be Mary.
You can even be, well, military. Come on, Tisha. Watson.
Oh,
He's in Afghanistan.
I guess so. That's true. But yeah, I guess so. He's technically a writer too, not a doctor, but he's a blogger.
I mean,
Okay.
it's hard to say too because yeah, like Mary was a cool character. Molly
liked
is also. I think it's interesting how Molly is expanded because she doesn't exist in the original book. Well, that's like a bad
Molly
criticism.
has
but
like a lot more to do with in like the series than I expected her to.
definitely.
You know what I mean? Like at first she was kind of like a background character who was just in love with Sherlock, and then like as the seasons progressed, she became more of a stronger. I loved her role in The Abominable
Abominable
Bride.
Bride.
That was so good. Get back to work.
Yeah.
Spicy. I like it. Let's see. Have you seen any of the other? Well, I think have we both seen the RDJ Sherlock version?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I've even seen the CBS version, Elementary with Lucy Liu.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
set
yeah,
in
yeah,
New York.
yeah. Well, okay, I mentioned it because Josh, who's at A Bank Pinoy, also asked Sherlock Elementary or the Sherlock series of the films and why. If
Which
you had
do
to
I
choose.
prefer?
Yeah, which one do you prefer?
I like the BBC version.
Me too.
Just because it's a contemporary setting,
Mhm.
and I
Modern.
think that modern. I
Yeah.
also think that the chemistry between Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch is really good. But it was so witty and different because the dialogue is so fast paced,
Mhm.
and even for like the first series or the first season, I mean, the graphics. I just remember watching the first episode, and you're getting all these text, and that was something that I'd never seen
I
experimented in the
know,
show before.
and I wish they put more of it in the series because I want to say like coming like when the newer seasons came out, like third and fourth, you don't see that as much.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And it kind of upset me because like that was the whole like I remember when Kevin, a good friend of ours, Kevin Borja, shout out to Kevin. I remember when he first introduced the show to me, he's like, oh, because I would like text him like, oh my god, this is so cool, I love like seeing it. And he's like, yeah, don't get used to that.
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean? You kind of don't see it later, but okay. So we kind of both of our answers is BBC Sherlock. So
Because the Robert Downey Jr. version is more of like an action movie.
yeah, I love me some RDJ, some Jude Law,
Right.
but it's in terms of like mystery.
Rachel McAdams was cool as Irene
yeah, that's
Adler
right.
as well.
Yeah, I
but
forgot.
I prefer the Irene in the BBC version.
Yeah, I definitely do too. I think the modern aspect is really what kind of draws us to that too. I'm gonna kind of alter it just because like we are on the topic of Sherlock, and we'll jump to other stuff after this. But he also asked, which TV series or movies would you like to be written into? I guess it doesn't have to be those three, but I guess anything in the mystery.
The
Murder
mystery
realm.
realm?
I mean, like if we really want to talk about a murder mysteries, I don't want to be written into any of them, but
Yeah, for sure. I want to live. Yeah.
I mean, Sherlock's fun.
Right. It is like a really trippy world that
Yeah.
would be fun to be a part of.
I think it'd be interesting to be involved with those set of characters in obviously knowing what's going on kind of thing. I think it'd be cool. I can't really think of other. See, that's the trouble. Like, so, I mean, I'll actually give your answer first, and I'll kind of launch into my little.
So I just started Altered Carbon on Netflix, and it is kind of a murder mystery, the first
Really?
season.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's I say like a pseudo murder mystery, but that
Season or
world is
episode?
so. You mean the first season?
Isn't it just one? Isn't it new?
Yeah, it's brand new.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
many seasons are there?
I don't know if they're going to do multiple seasons because apparently there's multiple books, but the entire first season revolves around solving like a murder.
Oh, okay. But you would say that one?
Probably
I
just
heard it
because
was
that world
interesting.
is so recent to me.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a trip.
I want you to tell me more about that real quick. But
Sure.
before I get into it, I need to do some ad reads. And so that could stay on for a little bit. So really quick, you can catch KCR staff at Music on the Mesa every Thursday from noon to 1 out in the farmers market. Stop by for some groovy music, free swag, and even get a chance to win concert tickets to amazing shows at House of Blues and North Park Observatory. We'll see you there. I'm usually there, so come say hi. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it a lot. Very close to my heart. And so really quick, I'm going to get serious. This is an American Red Cross blood donation alert. The Red Cross has an urgent need for blood and pallet donors of all blood types to give now. Help address a winter blood shortage so patients can continue to receive the life-saving treatments they need. Download the blood donor app, visit redcrossblood.com, redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to make an appointment today. And for those of you who are on the SDSU campus on Tuesday, I believe, KCR is pairing up with the Red Cross to do some blood donations. So if you guys see us out there, come say hi. And also if you have the time and the blood, which you do, definitely come by and spend some time with us.
Save some lives.
Save some lives. Please do. We would really appreciate it. And you're doing a good thing. So.
Do you know your blood type?
Yes. I have a little story to that.
Okay.
On our dog tags, it has our names, our socials, our preference of religion, and our blood type on there. So every time I go to drill, or I think it was like over the summer when I went to like my long drill training, my sergeant was like, "Maura, what's your blood type?" And I'm like, "Hey, Sergeant, guess what? It's B positive."
Hey.
And I start laughing, and he's like, "Of course yours is. Okay." He continued on. I'm like, "Oh, it was a good joke." And he's like, "Of course you'd have that." And I'm like, "Well, yeah. What do you expect?"
I think I'm B positive as well.
Are you really?
So you know what?
Fantastic.
True friends.
True
if you ever
friends.
need like a court, I got you.
Ah, man, I wish it would have been really interesting to have you and Andrew with everybody that was here last week, because he would have been like, "Oh yeah, she was my first girlfriend," and then you would have been like, "Yeah, we used to hate each other back in elementary school."
And now, if she needed my blood, like we would be blood.
We would be blood.
Bound.
Oh no, we're not doing
Sounds gross, actually. But.
No. So altered carbon.
Yes.
What is it exactly?
Okay, altered carbon is, think about it like if you've ever seen Blade Runner, kind of steampunk sci-fi meets The Matrix. And so what I mean by this is, in this future society, I'm going to try and be as succinct as possible. It's like 300 or 400 years in the future, and every human being exists on kind of like an SD card, like a chip, which is called a stack. So all of your personality, your soul is like on a stack. And then you can get a new sleeve, which is a body. So human beings have kind of become immortal because they change bodies every time their body is like fatally, mortally wounded or whatever.
Okay.
But the wealthy can kind of clone themselves. They're the only ones who can afford new bodies. So because if you change your body too many times, you go crazy or berserk. And so what happens
is it like the mental capacity?
Mental capacity, yeah.
So much?
Can't handle like overload, I guess. And so what happens is this one guy is brought back from the dead, and he was like a terrorist kind of, I forget like the name of what thing it is, but basically what happened was he was a really good fighter, and like there was a revolution where all these people were fighting against the reusing of bodies. And the placing of stacks, like the changing of souls and immortality.
That's so interesting.
So he lost that. So he gets brought back from like deep sleep, essentially, into a new body. And he's paid by this billionaire, like super billionaire, to solve his murder, because the billionaire's alive, but he doesn't know who murdered him because he has his own personal satellite dish, and he was murdered before it re-uploaded the last bit of memory. So it's such a trip. It's a murder mystery, but with sci-fi elements, class warfare, just all of these really fascinating things. And it's super diverse as well, because they speak in several different languages with subtitles, but it's speaking in Spanish or Arabic, or I think even Chinese. And so it's really, really well done. Although some people don't like it because it's very graphic and sexual nature and violence.
Yeah, but it's a Netflix series.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Game of Thrones, like season 1. A lot of people I've read online have been saying, the plot or context, it's very similar to that. If you can handle that, then you can definitely handle altered carbon. But anyways,
I really want it. I've heard good things about it. Phil DeFranco, if you're listening, come on my radio show.
Yeah, this is the Tishtalk show.
I wish. No,
anyways.
Right. He talked about it a lot on his show, and he said that he really liked it, or like he thinks it's interesting. He said, I don't understand it because I haven't seen it. He said that his favorite character is a hotel right now.
Yes, it's so weird because there's this, because it's the future. I mean, anything that exists in the public domain is used for capitalist purposes. So you've got like this it's radio. So how do I say this? Like basically like a brothel hotel is run by this AI figure, which is Edgar Allan Poe. It's called The Raven, the hotel. So it all is like the Raven theme. But what's crazy is AI has evolved to this point where they are self-aware. So it's so bizarre because there's like this poker scene where all like the AI figures are talking with each other, and they're like, we're better than humans. And then it was crazy because I was thinking like, wait, they're talking about all this stuff, but they're actually kind of their computer or their artificial intelligence. And yet, anyways, really interesting, really good stuff.
I'm down.
Highly recommend.
You know what? I need a good. Well, I say I need a good show to watch, but I'm surprised that this semester I genuinely don't even know when I have the time to watch stuff.
True.
But because I'm super behind on everything, like I didn't even get to watch through as many Black Mirror episodes that I want to.
I think that what's different too about this show as opposed to something like Black Mirror, which is an anthology, is even though it's super detailed, I mean, it's almost like sensory overload, really. It is, the first episode was kind of slow, but the others, it gets quick. So I thought it was really,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
You can binge through it pretty quick then.
Definitely.
How many
definitely.
episodes?
There's 10, and each one's about
Oh,
58
okay.
minutes long.
Okay,
so
yeah,
an hour.
I can do that. Let's kind of move. I want to. You know what? Somebody reminded me
Sorry.
of this podcast. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm trying to like look at what I have, and James, who is our TV director. Shout out to James. I think
Woohoo.
his shows are Thursdays at 5. Tune in whenever James' show is on. I'm sorry, James. I think his show is during my class time. That's why I don't know. But anyways, because I had asked people like, what do you think of when I say murder mystery?
It's
And
hard, right?
It
to
is
come
hard.
Up with a definition.
It's a hard topic, and that's why I've been so iffy. That's what I wanted to say earlier is that like I was iffy about doing this topic because I wasn't sure if I'd have enough content. And we're doing fine. But he brought back my attention to. Do you remember the podcast In the Dark?
Yes, I
Dude,
do.
I completely forgot about that. Apparently, they're coming back with a second season. It's
Really?
not going to follow the case of Danny Reid, though, or not Danny
never-
Reid.
you know, I
That's
never
the wrong
fini-
one.
I never.
Danny Reid's Iron Fist.
Yes.
Danny Heinrich. There you go. That's what
In
it
the
is.
Dark was about the boy who was murdered.
Yeah.
and
So, In the Dark is a podcast series that followed a case from a long time ago, and basically this young boy essentially is kidnapped, raped, and murdered. And it's this entire podcast that follows the case and the interviews, and it goes through like the family, the friends, people who are involved, and all that good stuff.
Jacob Wetterling.
Jacob Wetterling. There you go. And it really kind of highlights the flaws of the investigation team that was behind that case, which was not that much, to be honest.
It also talks about Middle America because it takes place in like Minnesota, so or Midwest kind of.
Yeah, it's in like a very small town.
Socioeconomic kind of problems as well that
Yeah.
arise.
And it's kind of crazy when you listen to it. I don't really want to spoil that because it's a fantastic podcast. I think you guys should all listen to it. But it's kind of crazy to think that because we come from a place that's like we live essentially in a big city.
Yes.
And
America's finest city.
Exactly, America's finest city, San Diego. But to think that something so obscene, something so crazy happened in one city and nobody really knew about it, and then as they begin to uncover more and the more into the details, they realize that it had happened to a lot more people, and then just you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. To me.
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
Yeah, and it's crazy that no one caught onto it in such a small town where it's like here it's not. You know what I mean?
You
like,
would expect in a small town, everyone knows everyone's like
Yeah,
business.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's very. But again, we come from a big city, so we don't really. Suppose like the dynamic is different entirely.
Definitely.
But I thought that was a very interesting take on a case. And another podcast that I did want to talk about that
Yes.
we're longtime fans of is Serial.
I love Serial.
Serial's-
Serial season 1. I guess I
Season
should-
1. Sorry, season 2 was trash.
Well, it's not a murder mystery, so
It's not. It's not a murder mystery, and if anything, listening to it pissed me off even more. Like the entire what's his name? Bo Bergdahl.
yeah.
So going back though, Serial is essentially like In the Dark. It kind of I want to say was like the catalyst for all these murder podcasts to really kind of get known. It goes back to 1999.
I believe
It
so.
follows the case of murder of a young girl. Oh, I forgot her name.
Heyman Lee.
Heyman Lee, who was murdered, and her boyfriend at the time was accused of the murder. And so Sarah
Caning.
Koenig, like man, I'm like forgetting everyone's names. It's been a really long time since I've listened to it.
Don't worry.
But Sarah Koenig, who is the moderator of the podcast, so to speak, she as well as like her team go to this little town and they kind of go through the cases and kind of like we kind of said In the Dark, they go through and they discover like all of these flaws that are happening in this case. Like there's big plot holes that are not, I mean, plot holes in a story sense, but like there's big holes in this case that you would be like, if you had just gone to go check physically yourself
Absolutely.
rather than go secondhand, you would have known. So, and like like the timelines. It's insanity. Like it's beautifully produced. It's definitely one of my favorite podcasts in terms of season that I would always highly recommend to people who are trying to get into that world.
I think like the thing that struck me most too is because it's true crime, because it's like a real event that happened. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that like there is no like who done it kind of conclusion for it, but it's fascinating in the sense that
Because they
it
never
totally
solved it.
challenges and it challenges everything you expect of kind of how like a criminal investigation were to go through. Like I love the question where it says, can you remember where you were 6 weeks ago on a particular day at a particular time?
Yeah.
And it talks about just the psychology of like, well, do you remember the truth or do you remember things differently based on something you keep telling yourself?
And imagine she's also doing this in real time. So
Yeah.
this is not, I think, in the dark, they actually follow it as they're producing it.
I believe so, yeah.
And Serial is in modern time, but they like there's some time jumps, but for the most part, it's all modern time. And so imagine having to go to these people who have like, the case was shut over
Yeah.
like almost like 18 years ago. Oh no, hold on. When did it first come out? We were at
2014?
Was it 14?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like
That's still a long time.
Yeah, exactly. It's still like late 2000s, and you're asking somebody to remember something from 1999.
Yeah.
And some of these people who she's interviewing was barely involved.
Right.
They just need their confirmation for a timestamp. And what's amazing about this podcast is that it brought so much awareness to this case that there was at one point I think they considered reopening it, and they were like I don't think they did though.
I looked the other day because I knew we were going to talk about this.
Thank
and
you.
so, no, don't worry about
Thank
it.
you so
Because I was
much.
just curious. I was like, what happened? What advanced? And so there is a new trial, but it hasn't started yet. These things take time. So I believe later this year it's scheduled to reopen because they found that,
really?
yeah, because they found that the lawyer, the original defense attorney, I don't know what you call it.
I
Man,
don't
I
know.
really should know these legal
Sorry.
terms. Sorry. His lawyer didn't necessarily do as good of a job in terms of evidence or questioning that she should have. I think there was issues with what they had in discovery, which is like all the evidence you collect that can
Yeah.
be used in the trial.
There was something else about like I think AT&T or like some phone company, like the timeline or like at least the records that they were trying to use the first time around when they were trying to reopen the case, they said that it wasn't valid or like it's not reliable. So that's
Yeah.
why they were considering it the first time around.
It's so weird, like not weird in a bad way, but it's fascinating.
It's
stuff.
very fascinating. I think it's definitely something for people to listen to and kind of be like it gives you a different insight on like cases rather than just watching it on the screen and stuff like that. But it just kind of reminded me now that we're talking about it. See, if we keep going, I was worried for nothing. Did you watch the series Making a Murderer?
I didn't watch it all the way. Did you?
Oh, you didn't?
No, I meant to. I really need to, actually.
I need you to watch it.
Sure, I'll start that.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's to the point like my dad even watched it, and I was like,
Huh.
oh.
Everyone I know who's watched it has said it's fantastic. Like it's really well done.
It's really, really well done. It essentially is kind of like Serial, except like because in Serial, not only are you following the case, but you're also kind of following what's happening to the perpetrator. Is that correct? Wow, I don't know legal terms.
Yeah, I think so. I
Is
think
that correct?
the right.
The perpetrator?
Yeah, the defendant,
So,
the perpetrator.
what's his name?
Steve
No. In
Avery, right?
No. Oh, yeah, Stephen Avery in Making a Murderer. No, but I'm talking about Serial.
Oh, Adnan Syed.
Yeah, Anand Syed. You follow what's happening to him at the same time. So essentially, take that concept and you see it in a Netflix series, which is Making a Murderer, and you follow this guy, Steve. What did you just say? Bad memory tonight.
Avery?
So yeah, Stephen Avery, and I guess the only bad thing is that, from what my dad said, because I think he also researched it a little bit afterwards, he said that it is kind of skewed. It is skewed to kind of show you what the filmmakers obviously believe. But I think it's very interesting because again, it's like one of those things where you see big flaws in a case, or there's like missing plot holes, and yet they still had enough to pin this guy, but it's still kind of in the air. It was like, well, really, like if one piece of evidence said otherwise, or like if like what some people kind of like conspiracize is like if it was tampered with, it would take it another way, and he would be innocent.
Huh.
So but the thing is, the series is very frustrating at the same time.
I can imagine.
It is extremely frustrating. especially because I think his nephew had like he could have stayed out of it. 100% could have stayed out of it. He would have been scotch free. Like if he's really innocent. But
Mm,
he was just so influenced by people around him that he felt the easiest way for him to get out of it was to say, "Yeah, I did it."
that's
And so at
terrible.
least from what it makes it seem
The
like.
way it's skewed.
And so it's very like that part frustrated me the most actually.
Right.
Was just watching and like, are you kidding me? Like you're so dumb, dude. Like why? Even the mom of the kid who was the sister of Steven, she would be like, why would you do that? Why would you just couldn't you just say no, no, no? I wasn't there. You were home. You weren't a part of it. Why is it that you say yes and all of a sudden you're coming back saying, oh, I changed my mind, seeing the consequences that it's brought. Like
Yeah.
no, dude. Like I guess some people argued that like he had like mental issues that would not help in the scenario that he's being pressured by these like law enforcement to say one thing versus the other supposedly that is in the series.
See, and that's the thing that I just always am so
Yeah.
shocked by is in everything you read or all of these murder mysteries, it's always like people just like fib the truth when they're talking with
It's
law enforcement. And
insane.
I don't know, like I wonder about, I hope I never am placed in that situation, but you wonder, like it's like, do you get so scared that you start to lie or do you just blurt out the truth immediately?
I think
I,
it's just how people handle it.
yeah, like a coping mechanism or
I suppose
something.
so. What time do we have? Because I want to talk about that really quick, but we'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
It's not so much like a murder. See, it's not murder mystery, but it's in the same realm. Slash, it is kind of quote unquote current. I guess I'll touch on it because I do want to hear your opinion. I didn't get the chance to kind of really talk to you about it. Again, this is completely off topic, but you said something about coping mechanisms, which I kind of wanted to talk about. Did you hear or like kind of know about what was happening with the Logan Paul situation in
I
the
heard about
suicide
that.
forest in
Yeah.
Japan? I think Aokigahara or something like that.
Ugh.
Um, one
He got in trouble recently with PETA too
trash.
for stuff, but
Yeah, he did.
trash.
But basically, for those of you guys who don't know that story, Logan Paul used to be a Viner. He's a big YouTube content creator. He's essentially YouTube's golden boy. But earlier this year, so like early January, he put out this video, and he is essentially in Japan, and he is kind of like doing crazy stuff or whatever. But there's this place in Japan that is not technically, it's not a tourist place, but the internet glorifies it as one. It's
Hmm.
called the Suicide Forest, and I want to say it's Aokigahara. I could be pronouncing
You're
it
correct.
incorrect.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he goes into this forest with the tour guide, and they go off the path and whatever. And as they're filming, and they kind of like it's very much assumed to be haunted because the
Mhm.
concept behind Aokigahara is that you go in there and you essentially, if you go in there, you go in there to overdose, you to hang yourself, to commit suicide, and which by the way, if you are dealing with suicidal thoughts and stuff, please reach out to somebody. It's important. It's don't put yourself through that. It's very bad, and you should reach out to somebody. But anyways, that video, that's what he put it off as like, oh, I want to try and
I
put
thought,
awareness out there.
yeah, I don't
but
even get where I don't buy
it's
any
so
of that.
dumb. Like he's just trying to like cover his ass. It's awful. But like he essentially finds a dead body. He comes
Yeah.
across a dead body, but the way he copes with it, he starts like laughing and making jokes, and like people would like defend him and be like, okay, I understand that's how people kind of cope with it differently, but like when he decided to put it all in his video, because originally he put it in the thumbnail,
Hmm.
he like kind of like clickbaity, and he still like zoomed in on it, like he blurred it out, but I guess there's parts where he didn't blur it out. I never watched the video,
I
and
did.
I don't think
But
you
I
did.
watched, I did. I saw it after the fact though,
Mhm.
and I saw one that was edited.
No.
I mean, I don't feel good about it either that I watched it because it's like I don't want this person to monetize. I think somehow
Well, like the person who
because
reposted it.
they pulled it, so I found it on
Yeah.
a different thing where it couldn't be monetized. But I was curious just what this whole thing was, and he got suspended, yeah,
Yeah,
from YouTube.
AJ's in here if you want.
But it
You
was
can
just-
jump on if you want. Are you guys set up?
It was
Okay,
so
that's fine.
I don't know,
huh?
disrespectful for like someone who clearly just I don't know. You think about the family and everything too. Of
Yeah.
what if that is how you discover that this person is no longer alive?
Exactly. It's insane. It's insane how that was a thing that kind of happened, and it's now he came back, he apologized, he did whatever, and he I want to say like he did like this redemption story kind of thing like a few weeks ago,
Ugh.
and he was like, "Oh, I want to raise awareness of suicide and all that." I didn't watch his redemption video because I don't want to give him that money, but also it's like I don't want to really give him the views because he's not worth my time. Um, but recently, I think because he kind of went back into the trend of things, and he got suspended from YouTube, I think, or not entirely. YouTube suspended his advertisements on his videos, which is the
Yeah.
only way he can really make money off of that. I don't know about his YouTube Red series. I heard rumor mill wise that he supposedly it had got stopped, but it really never got never stopped from production kind of thing. But I think the more backlash at him and YouTube, the more YouTube's like, okay, now we can't keep covering you. It's not
Yeah.
happening. But we were completely derailed. I'm sorry. I wanted to talk about that just because I thought it was a very interesting. It's something so interesting to start off the year. It's
It absolutely.
It's awful. I don't understand. Like I don't understand how that could be something. And what I thought was really interesting was that a YouTuber that I watch and have watched for a while, Raina Scully, she was a Japanese YouTuber or is a Japanese YouTuber, and she made like a response video to that, and she got really like all his fans came and started being like super racist and all this bad stuff. But what I thought was very interesting, which also kind of ties in from what I learned in Japanese too, is that the New Year, like Japanese people aren't very religious, but there are a few moments in their year that they are very like this is sacred, and one of those years is the New Year. And to kind of, if you watch Logan Paul and kind of keep that in mind, and all like the shrines and the temples and like the ceremonies and stuff that you kind of see him disrupt, it's extremely offensive
Yeah, I can see
to
that.
their culture. And they also understand that like it's not overcompassing of Americans or overcompassing of like like white people or whatever. But it kind of gives a bad image onto YouTubers now here. But AJ wants to speak.
I just want to say one thing. It's like because everyone's really focused on the suicide thing, but if you look at all of his other content too, super disrespectful.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's
Sure.
like throwing like octopus legs and octopus tentacles and like fish on like windows of stores and like
Yeah.
at people and on cars, throwing like dressing like a really like super like racist kimono and like throwing pokeballs at people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
It's insane.
yeah, like yes, the suicide thing was bad, super
Yeah,
bad,
extremely.
but everything else was bad. Like none
Yeah,
of it
for
was like
sure.
It
redeemable.
shouldn't be excused just because it wasn't on the same level of intensity
Exactly.
that guy decided to go to, and it's pretty crazy. I don't know how we got from murder mysteries to here. I'm not gonna lie.
'Cause it's a mystery how
It's
he's
a
not
mystery.
But yeah, also like the biggest thing about the suspension is just like YouTube's actually doing something, because like they weren't usually like at first like everyone thought YouTube wasn't gonna do anything to the polls just because like they're like the golden eggs.
Yeah, they're the golden boys. They're what's making money for them right now.
And like now they actually suspended him.
Wait, like entirely?
Uh,
I don't think so.
all of his ads.
Yeah, the advertising.
All of his ads.
So
for,
you can't make
isn't
money.
it for like a year or like a week?
I don't know how long it is. I just know that they had suspended their advertisements.
Yeah.
As on top of suspending his YouTube Red series
Yeah,
and the movies.
there's
But even
talks about
that's, like,
canceling it.
I don't know. But even I don't know if that they're going to go through with that because I don't think they ever stop production.
Yeah, I don't think there's not production either.
Yeah.
But, it's a start.
Yeah,
It's a
for
start.
sure.
I think it's important. But we have like about 5 minutes left, so we'll kind of wrap up things for now. AJ, do you want to do a quick plug for your show? What's up next?
My next show is AJ Cubed. Me, AJ the host, JJ the co-host, and special guest Nate Lee. We're gonna be talking about LCS, some other video games, and maybe some anime of the season.
Nice. Perfect.
Woo.
Alrighty, so he's setting up on his show right now, and he's going to be on after me. So if you guys want to tune in, please do give some love to my staff. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic. Yep. Oh man, maybe that was too soon. Whatever. Well, maybe we'll kind of kill the murder. Haha, we'll kill the murder mystery talk for now. There was a lot of opportunity for drama, or not drama, but like puns. I don't think I picked up on a lot of it, but.
I guess it's so the murder mystery theme as of now is dead. You're saying?
There you go. Thank you so much
Okay.
for bringing it back.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're gonna kill it for now. We're gonna let it die. But before we kind of sign off, again, we have time, so we're just gonna talk. But thank you for coming on air with me.
Thank you for having me.
I
Yeah, it
want
was
to
nice.
say you will hear Cameron again sometime in the semester.
Inevitably. I'm just kidding.
Inevitably.
Sounded so cocky and like confident, but
I want you to be back on air. It's hard it's funny because when you guys were like tweeting each other earlier in our in our chat, I realized maybe Olympics would have been a better topic.
I mean, the Olympics are for 3 weeks.
Maybe
I'm
next week.
totally down for talking about the Olympics. I love the
Maybe
Olympics, by the way.
I see. The thing is, I didn't really consume it much, but like I would see stuff offhand and stuff like that. So maybe next week, if I can't think of something else, maybe we'll do Olympics either next week or the
And
week
Black
after.
Panther's coming next
Okay,
week.
never mind. Just kidding. We're gonna do Black Panther.
Yeah, Wakanda.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
Hey, really quick. The new album for Black Panther is out. Oh my gosh, I've been listening to it all day. It's so
So
good.
good.
It's so good. I'm so excited. I'm looking so forward to it. I don't know who I'm gonna have on. I think what I'm gonna do, because I haven't done like just a Marvel episode. I think I probably will do Black Panther on his own for an episode, and then I think when Infinity War comes around, then we're gonna go. You want to be on? Yeah. Okay, AJ will be on.
They put Black Panther on Black History Month.
Oh.
There you go. But what's it called? Yeah, I'm gonna do definitely do like a Marvel episode come Infinity War time, either to debrief about it or oh no, it comes out May 4th, doesn't it? May 4th, Infinity War. Is it 8th? But we wouldn't be in school anymore. Maybe I'll end with it this semester. Is it finals? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Later on in the semester, I will definitely have a Marvel episode because Infinity War is just something to be talked about and it's important. And but Black Panther, maybe Black Panther. We'll do Black Panther next week. Maybe. We'll see. Keep an eye out on my Twitter, most likely, and all my other social medias at KCR Tishtalk. That's KCR Talk. Send me more questions, topics, all that good stuff on there. Or if you guys have any other suggestions on what is going to be on my show and who's going to be on my show, I would love it. I didn't really put it all this time around, but we do have a studio phone too. So if you wanted to call in the next time I'm in, it's 619-594-6982. You've been listening to KCR College Radio, the award-winning sound of state here at San Diego State University. Again, you can catch us at kcrlive.com, and you can download the TuneIn app for iOS and Android devices. Just search up KCR College Radio on TuneIn and find us on there. I need to send them the schedule again because they misspelled my name for the second semester in a row.
What did they say?
They said Trisha.
Oh.
There's no R in my name except in my last name. My first name is no R. I do not understand.
The more you know.
It's just Tisha. Yeah, it's just Tisha. I don't understand where the R comes from. So I need to go send the message and be like, change my name, please. Outside of Tishtalk, you can catch me on The Groove Mondays from 5 at Joshua Giberson's show. I am a co-host on there. I don't know if he's listening. I know Ryan is listening. Ryan's there too. Hi, Ryan. Ryan's show, I believe, is at 9 or 10. 9. I think it's 9 o'clock on Mondays as well if you want to tune in at that time. I'm double checking because I feel really bad for not getting anyone's shows timed right, and I programmed all of them. I want to say it was 9. Am I right, Ryan? I was right. 9 o'clock. Yeah, Ryan's show is Night Owl with his co-host Cole. It's at the same on Mondays at 9 from 10 if you want to tune in there too. They play a lot of funky music and all that good stuff. And I mean, we do on Groove too, but yeah, the Groove's gonna be a rough one for me this week. I can already tell. Just tune in Mondays at 5. Come the Groove. You can tweet at Josh too. The Groove KCR at Twitter. Just know it's gonna be a themed one, and I'm gonna have a headache more than usual. Really, honestly, I'm going to have a headache. It'll be good. It'll be interesting radio content. I'm stressed.